Ever since the dawn of our civilization, we've been reaching for the heavens. Our first manned rocket was a crude device. Far more advanced vessels would follow. But for 2 centuries, we stared longingly at the vast ocean of stars beyond our solar system, fearing them forever out of reach.
We're back. Thanks for checking out part 2. I've got so many cool things that I want to talk to you guys about. The game's just so complicated. We've got things to go through. So I could teach you all about planets, about how you can make resort worlds where everybody just goes to holiday, or penal colonies, or hive worlds, or ecumonopoli where the entire planet is just a city, or turn it into all kinds of things. But I think we'll leave a lot of the planetary management until a bit later. What I'm really excited to do for now is to show you guys what kind of things science ships can find as they're exploring. So we're going to progress through. The first episode, we spent a year and a couple of months. We're in March here of our very first year. And I'm hoping to get quite a few years into the campaign here today. So let's see what we've got. First of all, technologies. Now, you can always check what the most recent technology you got was. That's the colony ship. We're a little bit premature on this, honestly. Like, we haven't even found any planets we might like to live on yet. And we've already learned how to make these arc ships. I do love the idea of them. But there you go. Well, now we can pick a new one. And so remember to always check the traits of whatever your scientist is. So she's just adaptable. She'll get better at her job. She's currently level 1, or skill 1 as they call it. Skill 1 here, skill 1 here. There's a difference between skill and levels. Like, your ships can level up, your armies can level up, but your leaders have skill levels, all right? It's slightly different. Anyway, keep an eye on what they're good at. But in general, I think what we'll pick, just to get us started, is Planetary Unification, which gives us this thing called Unity. Unity is one of the currencies I never mentioned. I only talked about the first 3 last time, right? There are the next 3 as well. Remember I said the first 6 were important, 7-ish are important? We'll look at those later, but this will give us Unity. We'll talk about that when it's there. It gives us these things called Edicts that we, again, haven't looked at just yet. And it takes us deeper on a thing called the administrative path. It's going to take a long time to research, so I'll just pick it now, and we'll talk about what that's rewarded us with later. The flavor text, though, is this: the ancient warring tribes, historical nations in conflict, now unified in empire. We must not, will not crumble. So no matter who we are, we want to be somewhat unified. So she'll learn that, or get her scientists to work on that. And yeah, let's start playing the game through now. I'll keep it on a slow speed, so you're still going to see the construction ships and so on moving quite slowly. The Callisto mining station is about to be built. That's good. We've got so many resources here. It's kind of really good. And well, let's head down a hyperlane now. And so take our Corvette to which place? Let's go to Malthulia or whatever. Actually, no. Let's go to Bernard Star, because we found that mysterious ocean world over there very recently, didn't we? So yeah, he can go off and fly over there. What I'd really like to show you guys... Oh, and by the way, we can already upgrade our fleet. Oh, maybe we should do that first. Okay, all right. I'll talk about fleet upgrading. So remember how we unlocked the lasers, the red lasers? Well, we can put them on our ship now. So if I hit ship details, you'll see this is our Corvette. It's a Buzzard class, as you can see. And, well, we have the fission reactor, remember, that we knew how to use before the game began. The hyperdrive, remember, which we talked about before. We can move swiftly between the edges of star systems. The chemical thrusters. Simple yet moderately effective chemical thrusters can rely on combustible propellant to generate thrust. We have radars. Now, we haven't read anything about radars yet, but basically what the radars do is allow you to see aliens that might be nearby or around, or, you know, help detect hyperlanes and stuff. You see here, we got this thing called sensor range. And then there's a basic combat computer on this as well, which is taking a bit of power, and it tells the Corvette how to fight. So this is going to use swarm tactics. The ship will charge straight at enemies and try to do as much damage as possible from point-blank range. Kind of very basic stuff. But we really don't have any armaments on it, do we? So let's put a weapon on, and we've learned about the lasers. We could have learned... There are basically 3 different kinds of weapons. There's, like, projectiles. There's explosives, like you could put nukes and stuff on, or there's lasers. I think those are kind of the 3 main archetypes, but then there's loads of other stuff that kind of Well, we'll see as we play through. So let's put some weapons on it. And what I'm going to do, therefore, is I'm just going to click the upgrade fleet button. And what that's going to do is take us back to the center of the system where the starbase will... this is not actually the starbase. This is just the mining station. But the local starbase over here is going to upgrade our ship. Okay? And it's going to... For the purposes right now, what that means is it's going to put the lasers on there. All right? So here it says upgrading ships at Sol. And when it's finished off, we will have lasers. Now, the way that the game knew to put lasers
Ship
on there is because I
applied.
have all of my ship designs being automatically generated. Like, I'm not custom making them, but we can deal with that later on. Don't worry, you can do some really cool things. And especially when you find others, you'll learn maybe what their ships are like. And if you want to fight them or they want to fight you, you can tweak your ships to be better at taking out theirs. But anyway, check it out. The armament section, well, we now have small red lasers. There's these utility slots we have nothing on. Small slots, there's an A slot. Well, we'll fill those in as time goes forward. All we began the game with were these core components, which were already unlocked. We have to research the other stuff. So, by the way, what that also means is our other 2 corvettes that we had escorting the construction ships and stuff before basically can't fight anyway. So let's just go repair them. They'll come back, they'll go through the hyperlane, and then they'll do that. So anyway, the Democracy Bringer can now, I guess, go replace the fleets that have just been called off of active duty. So let's talk a little bit about leaders as he's on his way. What I really want to do is show you him going into the hyperlane. We've now got our newly lasered up ship. I'm going to click this button here, Assign Leader. And so you'll see there's 4 types of leaders in the game. We talked about scientists a lot yesterday. That's awesome. We also caught a glimpse of a governor. So the governor is on Earth, okay? There are also generals for your armies, and there are admirals for your navies. So this ship here, this corvette, this is, you know, fighting in space. It's a part of the navy. We can give it an admiral. So let's do that. We can recruit admirals for money. Now, we've almost got 1,000 energy credits now. They're only asking for 200 each. So it shouldn't be a big deal. And we get to pick. Do we want Admiral Jaroslav Dudnik, Admiral Jean-Francois Herbert, or Admiral Peng Tan? And, well, one of them's 30 years old. One's 29. One's 34. If you remember, we're going to be playing for 300 years. These guys are going to die of old age before it's all over, and they'll have to be replaced. Or they'll just die in combat, okay? Because at the end of the day, these are admirals. So you want to think about that. Some of them will cost more, some of them will cost less. Like if they're eager, they'll cost less, and they have different traits too. So do you want the youngest guy at 29, the oldest guy? They're all a skill 1, so they'll all be about as good as each other. But while this guy is resilient, he'll probably live a long time, another 25 years. He's resilient and in excellent physical condition, dramatically increasing life expectancy. So if we go for the long-lived guy, it will be longer before we have to pay for a new admiral, as long as we can keep him alive. If we put him in risky situations, he might die. Or this guy's also resilient. And then we've got this 30-year-old who's unyielding. This leader refuses to even consider the possibility of retreat when the battle has been joined, preferring instead to fight to the death if necessary, okay? So you'll see his ships will be a little bit tankier and they'll do a little bit more damage, but there's very little chance they'll escape. There's a third less chance they'll escape. So what do we want to do? Well, I'll pick the unyielding guy just for the funsies, okay? So there we go. Welcome to the team, Jaroslav Dudnik. And now that he's hired, we can throw him in this ship. So he is the admiral of this fleet, but there's only 1 ship in the fleet right now. So that's not very good. We kind of want to give him some more ships. At the start of the game, you can have about 20 vessels to fight with. And returning to the top bar, if you have a look up here, you'll see naval capacity. And there's all kinds of stuff there you don't have to worry about. But right now, we can actually have 30. I think we can have 30 because of one of our Empire civics or something. Didn't we read something about being a bit militarist or something? Anyway, so the baseline 20, we could get 30. That's pretty nice. So we can collect some more ships. Well, how do we do that? Well, I'll show you guys. Let's watch him go into the hyperlane first before we go any further. You'll also notice I got another pop-up here. One telling me that my fleet was upgraded, and this one is telling me there's a tradition available. So that's kind of like a technology. We'll deal with that later. So there you go. We're passing by one of the other ships going to get its laser. And so here's what entering a hyperlane looks like. If you look on the bottom left, it says that we're moving to the Mathuata system. The estimated arrival date is in 41 days. And what we're doing is building up our hyperdrive here, okay? So when you get to the edge, it does actually take a second to charge up, all right? Now, charging up, what this means is the more ships you have and the bigger ships you have, the longer it takes them to enter the hyperdrive. They'll be caught at the edge of the system. So if some aliens come from elsewhere and they attack me here at Sol, well, they might fly over and intercept me on the edge of the system, and then I'm screwed. Okay, so you got to be careful if when you get attacked, you kind of want to be near your starbase, which will defend you, but then you also kind of want to be near the edge of the system. It's an important thing to think about. So anyway, in 30 days, 1 month, he will actually travel through there, and he'll be out where he wants to be. So there you go. That's what it looks like entering a hyperlane. And I'll play at normal speed. Here you go. So now we're warping through, and plop, we come out on the edge. And importantly, it is always the edge of this system, and we'll go escort that science ship. Speaking of the science ship, let's have a look at this now. So this is what surveying looks like. We are surveying this gas giant right now, and you'll see that we have this very cool animation. I really like the survey animation, where we're basically scanning. Now, this science ship, if it got attacked or something, the scan would not go right. And you'll see that he's also got an extra 3 orders where he's going to go survey all this other stuff, because we told it to go survey everything, right? So yeah, right now we don't really know anything about this, but once this survey is finished, which it will be in about a second, there you go, if there was something to discover, we would have discovered it. And unfortunately, turns out we didn't. So it no longer has a nameplate. It's no longer really relevant whatsoever in the galaxy. That's kind of it. You know, we're not interested in this. Alien empires probably won't be interested in this. It's just a plain old
construction completed.
Gas giant. That's it. Was that a fleet just upgraded, I heard them say? I think so. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll just keep moving along until we find something. You'll notice that over at the star, we found some energy credits. So we do want to get a construction ship over here to get those energy credits. Depending on your luck, some star systems will be really valuable and some won't be very valuable. And that can sort of affect where you want to expand your borders to be, you know. Because especially if you're in dangerous space, you don't want to overextend for a system that doesn't even really give you that much, right? So yeah, we'll let them continue dealing with that. Let's go back to the second fleet now, back over at Sol. And let's get some more ships. They're currently upgrading. How do we do that? Well, we're going to go to the Sol space station, which is over here. So every space station can have 2 different things going on with it. It can have modules, which are listed here in this top box, and it can have buildings, which are listed in the bottom box. The more advanced the space station is, the more modules it can have, the more buildings it has. So here you see it says upgrade. We can turn this star port into a star hold. Well, that sounds pretty cool, right? A star hold would be a way bigger facility. They're like really epic, massive, grand structures, but we don't know how to do that. You can see as I mouse over the tooltip, it says that to do that, we need the star hold technology. Well, our researchers, our engineering research, they haven't seen anything about star holds yet, right? We're just doing Corvette hull points. We never drew that card, so we can't do that yet. Maybe later. But the place does start with a couple of things already built in. First of all, there's a crew quarters. There's a building on it that people live, a crew quarter. And what does the crew quarter do? It provides accommodation and support for spaceship crews, reducing the logistical burden on fleets that are berthed here. So, we have upkeep for our ships. All of our little corvettes, they're costing us materials and money to run. And while they're roaming around in space, that's quite a lot. But if we berth them at the station, if we just leave them at home, because of this crew quarters, they won't cost us so much. So you could play in a really silly way, in my opinion, where you have all your fleets just always berthed, and you know, you don't even have many fleets, just to save as much money as possible and spend that on expansion as much as possible. But then all of a sudden you get attacked and you're caught with your pants down, or your construction ships are dying, or your science ships are dying, and so on. So, but when you come to really, really big fleets, having a crew quarters can really help you there. That's what we started with. Then there's also a trade hub here. We'll talk about that later. That's about money and civilian trade. But here we have a shipyard. Now, this is the really important one. A shipyard can build ships. Having one shipyard, you can build one ship at a time, and you could spam shipyards, which means you can make lots of ships at once. So, for example, we have one shipyard here and one trade hub. It means that I get this tab at the bottom down here. You see this shipyard tab? And that means that this starbase is good for building new vessels. And I can choose which ones I want. Right now, the shipyard is upgrading our corvette to give it the lasers, right? That's what it says there. It's upgrading the UNS Kopesh, right? It's this thing that's giving them the lasers. Well, we can tell it to make us new corvettes as well. Remember, we can get 30. So I'll build 5 new corvettes. 1, 2, actually, I don't even think we'll have the funds. 3. All right, we'll build 3 corvettes. Okay, so we've just doubled our navy size. All right, and we can put those under the command of that admiral we had a second ago. So that's pretty nice. Building military vessels and ships doesn't cost minerals. It costs alloys. So alloys are an advanced version of minerals. Basically, you collect the minerals from your mines, say over at Earth. You mine the minerals out. Or you mine the minerals out, say like we're doing over here at Mars from this station here, this mining station. All these things are giving us minerals. We're getting 37 of them every month. And what we can do over on a planet is we can build a special building called an alloy foundry. Look at this. The metallurgists working in these foundries produce high quality alloys. So this foundry on Earth is taking our minerals and converting them into alloys. For every 6, what was the ratio? For every 12 minerals, we get 6 alloys out of it. Okay, so two minerals becomes 1 alloy. And the alloys can create ships, okay? So minerals are good for building, you know, things. And alloys are good for building ships. And we are now pretty much out. We didn't have enough to make many more corvettes than that. So, going back over to the shipyard, what you'll see as well here is we can make corvettes. We can also now make colony ships. Remember that technology we researched, the arc ships? Well, we can make those, but they cost tons of stuff. They cost 200 alloys, 200 food, and this other thing, which we'll deal with later. That doesn't matter because we haven't found any planet to go to yet. We can make new science ships, so we could spam out loads of these if we wanted and just be researchers and technologists that just travel the galaxy as pacifistically as we like and try to learn fast. And we can make new construction ships. So, construction ships, like I said, are quite tweaked for my playthrough. They're very slow. They're also very expensive. So, construction ships not only cost alloys, not many alloys, but they cost straight up minerals too. Construction ships will need minerals to build, you know, the stations that they're creating, but also just to make a construction ship in the first place. But I'm going to do it. So, 25 minerals, 25 alloys, 400 minerals. And we can actually get 2 more construction ships. Now, these take a long time to build, and we just sank all of our minerals into that. But getting more construction ships is really good for us, because what it means is I'll be able to keep expanding, even though they're quite slow. The thing is, I'm not going to be able to protect them all with my fleets, right? Well, I'm going to have 4 construction ships now, and I'm not going to be able to keep them all safe. So we'll see what we can do. Some of them might end up a little bit vulnerable. It all depends what we find and what happens. But still, at this point, we don't know. All right, so anyway, this guy has finished at Callisto and Jupiter. Now, they're slow, right? So I want him to start building things elsewhere, but I need to be kind of careful about where I want him to go. So which hyperlane is closer? This one? Or this one to us? I think probably this one is closer, okay? So we'll send him over there. And then once the science ship is done surveying over there, he'll be ready to claim that space for us. And he can build a starport all the way out there, or an outpost. So we'll get that soon. But they're going to move slow, so we want to get some more of those going. So, with that done, let's now have a look at...
We have detected.
Well, that's perfect timing, to be honest. Let's go have a look at what our science ship just found. So, this science ship, escorted by this corvette, which doesn't have a laser still, right? I think. Do you not have a laser? Oh, yeah, no, this is good. This is Jaroslav Dudnik. He got there in time. Okay, cool. So, by the way, because we have an admiral with a cool trait, and we have lasers, this is like definitely our strongest corvette here. Right, so anyway, it's been helping this guy, Takeru. And when he examined this little rock, which said it was just barren, they found an anomaly called monoliths. So these are basically like quests, let's put it that way, okay? They're small adventures and stories that can be beneficial or dangerous and negative as you explore space. So right now we're right at the start. We're just 1 year in and we're trying to find if anything else is alive in the whole galaxy, to be honest. But there are some fun little anomalies for us to see at the same time. This one is a level 3 anomaly, so it's kind of a difficult anomaly, really, to a certain degree. It'll be very challenging if we want to look into this. It will take us 300 days. That's 300 days where we're not surveying new worlds and exploring. Okay, so we'll be sat here for a while. But what they found is that there are impressive structures littering this moon's surface, practically begging for some archaeological work. So let's research it. Okay, so I'm going to hit research. Now, because it's pretty tough and we're pretty new, we're going to take ages. What we could choose to do is not look into these monoliths just yet. Go just examine some other stuff, and then maybe when we level up, when we get skill 2, this won't take so long. So it'll be more time efficient to come back later. But then you've got to think about the travel time of, like, what if we end up exploring really far away and now we've got to come back here? That would be kind of annoying. And you've got to think about, like, what if this is really cool for us? Maybe we want to get it early, right? So I tend to go for these, but it does leave my ships hanging around for a long time, and it means I explore a little bit slow. But we'll research it. What we could do as well now is, because he's going to be held up here, let's have a look, right? And you'll see what he does. He's basically just going to start surveying this moon for ages. And you'll see the progress bar on the outliner here will start going up. What we could do is make another science ship now and hire another scientist. And that other science ship can go explore while this guy's sitting about. And that's a cool idea, except we just spent a bunch of our allies on some new corvettes.
System survey concluded.
Cool. So, let's do this tradition real quick here. All right. Well, I guess hold on. Something too cool has just happened. Let's go to the other science ship now, who's just finished. Okay, so Bernard's Star, our first new system, has been explored. Okay, so well done to the Celsius, and they have examined this ocean world, which we saw at the end of the last episode. If you guys remember, I guess it had been happening all the way through this one, and we hadn't seen it. And, well, I guess you could kind of tell anyway, because it looked green. You know, the islands look a little bit green, and when we click it, you can kind of see there seems to be some vegetation. There is alien life. What a surprise. So, the Celsius has made a startling find on Bernard's Star 2. The planet is teeming with alien life. For the first time in history, we have encountered life forms that did not originate on Earth. This amazing discovery has silenced those who believed we were alone in the universe. Although none of the alien creatures found on Bernard's Star are sapient, well, this is Bernard's Star 2, right? Because we haven't named the planet. It is likely only a matter of time before we encounter beings that are. So we may not be alone out here. And just from finding that, we get 150 society research. There are a couple of little things really early in the game that if you do them, you get a big bump to one of your, departments. Like the first time you colonize a new world, you get a straight up bump of engineering research at about 150. But yeah, so we may not be alone. Pretty exciting. But they're not really interesting creatures in any way. So what can we do with the planet? Well, there's not much going on. You'll see that there are potential districts if we came to live here. And you'll actually see as well that we have an 80% habitability match. Well, why? Because this is a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. That's just like what we want to live on, right? And we don't mind water. It's just there won't be much space, right? So it's actually an okay little planet. What I can do as well is click this here and see the planetary features. So this will tell us what's going on the surface, okay? So as an ocean world, what has it got? Well, it's got some teeming reefs, a vibrant ecosystem brimming with corals, fish, mollusks, mammals, invertebrates, and all kinds of edible marine life. There are green hills, which totally looks like the Windows XP desktop screen. Rolling hills covered in greenery and fertile soils. There are mineral fields. Geological upheaval exposed these useful minerals to the planet's surface long ago. There are some waterfalls, rushing waterfalls, picturesque vistas formed when rivers flow over the cliffsides of steep mountainsides, and some hot springs. Okay, so each of these little features can be of value to us. Remember the districts? Basically, we can tap into these teeming reefs for agricultural purposes. And that means we can get more farms. So if you look here, you see all these boxes underneath where it says agriculture district. These are all the potential farm districts we can put on there. There's loads of them. Why? It's because of these teeming reefs. And it's because of these green hills. And it's telling you, look, max agriculture districts. Here, there are some mineral fields, which we can put mines on. But only one. This whole planet can only have one mine on it, okay? So if we want lots of minerals, which we kind of do, it's not a very good planet for that. The rushing waterfalls, well, they could be generated districts because we can just use, you know, hydroelectric plants. The hot springs can be geothermal. So there you have it. Then you have these up here. Now, these are dangerous and these are bad and these we can't do anything with. So there's dangerous wildlife on this planet. Dangerous alien wildlife. I wonder what it would be like. Can you imagine how exciting and amazing this would be? The wildlife in this region is particularly lethal and with many dangerous predators and poisonous plants. The kelp, a thick forest of kelp that is toxic to most forms of life, covers the ocean in this region of the world. And again, so later we might be able to find a way to deal with the wildlife or deal with the kelp or deal with this kelp. And underneath it, you might find some other cool stuff. And once you clear it, you might realize that there's new farms you can build or there's new generators and stuff. Here, for example, there are boggy fens with the kelp, but you're not going to be able to get to those low-lying wetlands with the valuable plant nutrients until you deal with the kelp. So overall, it's an okay little world. You know, it's a size of 12. It doesn't have much mining. We already have more than enough food. We've got so much food, it's unreal. So I'm not really too worried about settling here. We, in theory, could, and I know it's an exciting idea, but I think we'll leave it for now, all right? But what's interesting is there is kind of like unintelligent, non-spacefaring other life forms that we now know about. The rest of the system's really not even that good, by the way. I mean, there's 2 energy we can get from it, and that's it. It's not that great. Anyway, so now that we're done, well, let's head into this hyperlane. And you could immediately just say survey system if you like. And we'll see what we find out there. So, as we fly along, let's see. So, that system was surveyed. We found this anomaly that we're working on. We'll find out what those monoliths are all about. Which obviously hinted at alien life, I suppose. Now, let's talk about this. So, traditions. Let's go back up to our resources. So, you got energy, money, minerals, building things, food for our populations to be happy and keep growing. Consumer goods we didn't look at. Alloys are for ships. This we didn't look at. And now we got this. Unity. So unity is a currency that is kind of just a generic representation of our society's togetherness and progress through the ages. It's a lot like technology, okay? But they're like more broad perks. And you can kind of think of this like the buildcraft. You know how like as humans, our humans have certain traits and our ethics were a certain way and we had civics and authority? Well, you can think of traditions as another way of specializing how the humans are. So when you hit certain thresholds of unity, and we start by getting very little, we get plus 14 a month, as you can see here, from the various jobs we're doing. Every time you hit a various threshold, you can get a new perk. So there are different trees. There's the expansion tree, domination, prosperity, harmony, supremacy, diplomacy, and discovery. You're not going to get all of these for years and years and years and years and years and years. So the order you pick is really important. And these can change based on the empire that you are. You also get very special perks at various thresholds when you manage to finish a tree. So you want to pick a tree and go with it, okay? So what do you think the humans would be, guys? Think about it. Would we be seeking harmony? Would we be looking to make lots of money? Would we be looking... The domination line is about internal politics, really, which is kind of a slightly weaker side of Stellaris. We'll deal with later. Do we want to just expand? Do we want to fight people? Do we want to be diplomatic? Do we want to discover the mysteries of the world? In general, these two are really good for early game, expansion and discovery, generally speaking. So you kind of probably want to pick one of those. There's a good reason to pick prosperity sometimes and supremacy sometimes as well. But, you know, why pick diplomacy when we haven't even met anyone yet? So I think I'm going to go with discovery. This is kind of my standard. So we are going to adopt the discovery tree. Now, just by clicking adopt, we'll spend the unity that we have gathered so far. And that's it. We can now start getting these perks, but we have to wait for more unity to come in. Adopting it did do something, though. Look at this. Our curiosity about the universe is what got us this far, and there is still much left to discover. And our anomaly research speed has increased by 20%. So that anomaly that one of our science ships is working on will go through quicker. And then we get to make specific choices. There's to boldly go, or the science division, and they'll do all kinds of researchy and exploration-oriented things, which we can look at, you know, as time goes forward. So here we go. We're going to an unknown hyperlane. This is something only science ships can do. So if you spread your science ships out, instead of surveying, you just spread them out really quick and explore all the hyperlanes. What you can do is travel through them all with any ship. You can send construction ships around and corvettes around and anything, colony ships. And if you find something hostile and dangerous out in the world, you can just go through the hyperlanes because you know where they're leading. You've already explored them with a science ship, and you'll be safe when maybe aliens can't follow you. Or you can just survey straight away, which is the more standard thing to do, and is what I'm doing. So anyway, we'll go through here. And check it out. We get a contact report. The Planetary Anomalia. The United Nations of Earth is abuzz with news of the alien life that was found. While hardly intelligent by human standards, the fascinating beings defy easy classification and hint at the immense complexities and possibilities of the universe. I love this moment. This would be such a huge moment for any society. I mean, I guess developing an FTL drive would be a pretty big one as well, to be honest with you. So yeah, we'll travel through here and we'll make sure that we're going off. And well, didn't I see? I said this. Oh no, there you go. I thought it was going to be a dead end for a second, but looks like we do get another hyperlane. But going to the galaxy map, it looks like they both arrive here. Now, will this one be a dead end? Will you only be able to get here through some other completely different route? Well, I guess we won't know. Once again, you can see that there is a planet here that is potentially habitable. That's because at the game setup, I did actually increase these a little bit so that they're slightly more common. The reason for that is because the galaxy we're playing on, this is actually quite a small galaxy because I want a fast-paced, quick game. So I wanted to make sure that all the aliens that Stellaris is currently playing, there's like so many, I won't spoil how many, that everyone gets a cool amount of planets in their little area before you find other people's territories and stuff. So yeah, there's another thing. We have no idea how good it is for us until we actually research it. This is a Continental World though, which is the exact same classification we're from. So this one's going to be pretty good, I'll tell you guys that much. Rocky world, nitrogen, oxygen, active and stable hydrosphere. Great land masses are separated by oceans with large climate variations depending on latitude and precipitation. But question marks on everything, we just don't know yet. So yeah, we will let our science ship go explore that, figure out exactly what's happening. Now, looking back at the outliner, you can often tell if you are doing things that you should be. Really, you don't want stuff just sitting around doing nothing. So this construction ship, the UNS Rhine, all right? We ordered him last episode to do some stuff. He's not doing anything anymore. So really, we want to get him on that. So let's send him over to Bernard's star and let's claim this for our empire. So how are we going to do that? Well, hold on. Let me just make sure that the other construction ship isn't doing anything. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we are going to hit build starbase. Oh, no, we actually don't have the funds for it just yet. All right, so let's just move him over. We'll enter the orbit of this this star. And when he gets there, we will have the funds and we'll be able to build the thing. Looking back over at our space station, you can check out the shipyard progress is going. It's building the last corvette now, and then it's going to build these construction ships. Construction ships themselves take a long time to make, so the shipyard will be busy with those for a long time. If you want to change the order, you can just click these arrows up and down. You know, I could say do the construction ship first, but we'll have it churn out the corvettes first. Also, by the way, when I told you about the starbase, all of the different modules and buildings do actually visually appear. Like if we build new ones or swap them around, these like arms that are coming off it will change and look different based on what they are. So the actual shipyard is this thing here that I'm mousing over right now. And I've always thought that was a pretty cool thing about the game, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. That's the last corvette, just came out. Did you see it just fly out there? And it's joining this fleet here. These are all the new corvettes that we built earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell these guys to join up with their admiral that is defending this guy doing the anomaly, okay? So I'm going to have them move on in. And they'll fly off. They'll get their job done. And And then when we get together, we'll merge them all together. And what we'll have is 6 corvettes all together, all at once, commanded by a single admiral. And they will be in defense of, you know, that science ship. What I'll probably do once I meet them all up is I'll split them in 2, get another admiral or something, and then we'll have both of our science ships being escorted. One of the changes I've made with the game is it is very, 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 very likely that if we meet any alien science ships, like if our science ships meet theirs, their science ships will be defended by corvettes. And we don't know if they'll be nice or not. There's a chance they won't be nice. And so I don't want to take that risk, okay? So, yeah, we'll get these guys on over, and then we'll probably split them up. It looks like someone in the second fleet can actually be upgraded. Yeah, one of these guys doesn't actually have lasers on him. Which isn't good, but hey, it's not a big deal. So... oh, there we go. That's good timing. That way we just finished the anomaly. It's just finished. So, this moon is uninhabited and indeed uninhabitable, but not unvisited. Its surface is littered with tall cenotaphs carved from some mineral not native to the planet, evidently placed here by some artistically inclined spacefaring race. The monolith's flowing lines deftly chart a history so fantastical it must surely be fictional. Surely. So we can image them for the archives. And, well, here we get a reward. This was a very basic, very simple little anomaly. We spent some time, we learnt a thing, we didn't know what was going to happen. Turns out we got some engineering research from that. So 350 engineering right away. So that's like several months of engineering just bulked in. And remember, that's our Corvette Voidcraft technology that we're working on right now. So they'll do very well with that. Now, the science ship is just... not that science ship, this science ship. Now, he's just going to go off and he's going to go do his thing. And he's going to keep researching now with a pretty substantive fleet of corvettes coming in now. So, when they all meet up at this planet, what I can do... oh, we got another contact report here. But what I can do is I can select both of my fleets... and you get some options up at the top here where we can tell them to go home, we can tell them to patrol around, or you can just merge them together. Okay, so I'm going to hit the merge button, and now all of the ships will be together in one fleet. So another thing, human xenologists are practically falling over themselves to publish their takes on recent findings of alien life. This fevered storm in the scientific community has had some negative yet temporary impact on pursuits in other fields. Remarkable. That's interesting. So, yeah, we now know that there are aliens around, and we do know, but stupid ones, animals. And we also know, though, that there have been intelligent xenos at some point. So that's cool. So let's talk a little bit more about the fleets now as well. I'm going to move these guys over here and we'll talk a bit. So when they're in a fleet like this, they have a certain formation. That formation can change based on the kind of computers you put on them and what behavior you want them to go for. There's also many, many, many more military craft than just corvettes. These are just the starting ones, obviously. But let's talk about the UI. Can you see it says 152 and 6? 6 means there are 6 corvettes, and you can mouse over and see. When we start mixing in new types of ships, then you'll see other, designations there. The 152 is our general estimated might. So this is actually a mechanic I don't like much about Stellaris. But basically, at a glance, you can tell that with 152 strength, you can fight other things around 152, and they might win or you might win. It'll be 50-50. If I find something with just 10 strength out in the galaxy somewhere, and I send my 152 strength at it, I'm going to win that, like, nearly every time. Like, there's no way that the 10 strength guy is going to win. But if I send these guys against a 2,000 strength alien fleet, then the alien fleet is going to win. So that's just a rough estimation of our offensive and defensive capabilities, as the tooltip there is saying. And you do want to pay attention to it. If, however, your components are all really good against theirs, then the military strength might not mean so much. Like, if you have a very small military strength, you can get certain bonuses, and if you just counter-comp them, basically, you can win anyway. So you want to be careful of that. I kind of like an idea of Stellaris where there is no military power just spoiling the outcome of events, but you actually got to look and you got to think, okay, they got 6 ships, I got 5 ships. But, and that was one of the things I kind of wanted to code in, but it turned out to be a nightmare because of the AI, so I abandoned the pursuit sometime last week. But, as you can see, to really be specific about what I'm talking about here, you see these small red lasers. They say that they do 50% less shield damage, but 50% more armor damage. So shields are a way of protecting your hull, and armor is a way of protecting your hull. And our lasers are good at one and bad at the other. So depending on what we find, we might do really well, or we might do really poorly, and the military power isn't going to tell the whole story, okay? So you can, for technology, choose to just do lasers, which is kind of what we're going for right now. But it's also smart probably to get a wide base so that you can refine and tweak your ships if you want. So you got to think about that, especially in multiplayer. If you play multiplayer campaigns, God, some of these guys are really good, and they will hammer the hell out of you because they'll figure out like exactly what you're doing, and they'll tweak and they'll change very, very quickly. So anyway, we don't have much to customize right now as it is. Okay, we have no armor and no shields, and people we find probably will have no armor and no shields. I don't know. We might find people who do have them. So you want to think about it. But yeah, we're also regular rank, right? As they fight, they'll level up. And they haven't had any conflicts yet, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so anyway, that's that. Let's now split them in half with V. Let's keep the first democracy over here. But the first fleet, let's give them a new admiral. I've got lots of money, so I don't really care about this cheap guy who's eager, you see. He costs less on the start, and he costs less to upkeep as well. Because they don't just ask for initial payment, they ask for continual payment. So he's half price always, which is pretty good, actually. This guy will live longer. This guy will live longer. All right, fine. Andrew Perkins. Welcome. So that's our second guy. And what we'll do with him is we will send him quite far away, to be honest. That's this whole other system all the way over here. Let's put him on that science ship and have him enjoy himself. So that's a lot of the stuff explained, which is pretty good. I think we can actually click it to a fast speed here for a second. Oh, I think we did. Look, we finished surveying this now. So this was Sirius. And Sirius seems to have vegetation there, not necessarily any creatures. All right, so every planet, okay, has a different habitability.
System survey concluded.
Oh, we just finished another survey of a system, which is good. Has a different habitability, but they can also have modifiers. So this one here, this planet, this Continental World, has particularly low gravity. This planet has unusually low density and therefore much lower gravity than most planets of comparable size. So if we put people to live here, they'll be, you know, floating around a bit. They'll be very lightweight. And that's going to change the kind of things you can do there. Look, buildings will actually be cheaper to build here because there's less gravity. But also, we're less acclimated to it. We would be 90% matching to it, but instead we're only 85. Nonetheless, I think this is pretty good, guys. Do you want to come live here, maybe? Let's see. It's a size 13 world with lots of space for cities, not much space for anything else, to be honest. The question is, where do we want to live? It costs a lot to colonize somewhere new. And we want to make the right choice, I think. Let's have a look again. That's Bernard's star over there. Maybe we colonize the ocean world and just get all the food. Should we have like a food world? Should we live among these guys? I mean, we're only slightly less comfortable here. I think we should do it. I think we should live here. So let's make that our goal for the end of the year here. Right, so we got our construction ship moving on, and we'll tell him to build a... Oh, well, hold on. We'll do the starbase in a second. This guy just finished surveying and found pretty much sweet FA. That's pretty lame. So we've got a choice. Which hyperlane do we want to go into? Now, there's one up here. We don't know where it will go. Could be a dead end. I think that one probably will be. Maybe. I don't know. There's one down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start queuing in a bit more of an advanced way. I'm going to right click. I'm going to say survey the system. I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say survey system. And what's going to happen with our science ship now is he's going to be working and he's going to be escorted by the corvettes automatically for a long time. Okay. He's going to go off and find a ton of stuff. There could be all kinds of anomalies. I don't have to look at him or think about him for a long time now because he's going to do two full systems back to back. Of course, I don't know when we get here what other hyperlanes he'll find, so it's a good idea to watch this right here, right now, and see what comes up. once we go through. But aside from that, it should be alright. I'll also be a little bit vulnerable here, by the way, because the science ship will go through first, and then the corvettes will go through, because there's more of them, and they won't know to go through until it's just a couple of seconds. We're entering the hyperlane in 7 days. See, if you get ambushed, like, you could sit a fleet here and just ambush people, which is kind of a fun idea. So, yeah, anyway, we'll head along the hyperlane here. I like this animation. It always feels a bit jittery when you zoom out too far. There you go. And look at all these places here. Look at this. And look, it was a dead end. Nice. So the only way back now is back the way we came. And who knows where that will go or what we might find. This is... I'm starting to wonder where we will find alien life. This is definitely going to split off, I think. I don't know whether it will go 3 ways, 4 ways, or what. You can have like 7 hyperlanes on a single system, guys. It's kind of nuts. Right, so we'll do that. Now, back to our construction ship who was entering orbit at Bernard Star. He's almost there now. So, we'll build a starbase here. This place is surveyed. We know what's going on. We know that there's a planet here. We want to claim it for ourselves. So, when I right-click, we can build the starbase. It's going to cost us 100 alloys. Remember, a lot of ship-based construction will cost alloys. It's also going to cost 75 of that other thing. What is that other thing? Well, that's one of the next currencies to talk about. That's influence. Influence represents our political clout. It is used for many things, like enacting edicts, making claims on enemies, building outposts, dealing with our factions. The gain rate remains fairly constant throughout the game, but can be increased. So basically, unlike all of the other ones, you can't really increase influence too easily. You can't go to a planet and mine influence. You can't, you know, tell people on a planet side over at Earth that, you know, I want you to give me influence necessarily, right? You can work on your unity and stuff, but your political clout just slowly comes in and you have to be careful about what you spend it on. So I view it this way. The reason that you need to spend influence on a starbase, a new area, is you kind of got to justify it to the people of Earth, okay? Is it really justified to come here? Well, I think that they're going to say, yeah, that's fine. We've got lots of influence stockpiled. We haven't made any controversial decisions for a while. They'll be happy for us to do it. So we've got 600. We get another 3 every month. You'll notice that 3 a month is very low. A lot of these other ones we get way more a month. But no, that seems fine. So what we can do is we can just build the starbase. And that will go through and we'll be able to claim this territory for ourselves. It will build it similar to any of the other stuff. Next. Looks like our new surveying has found something interesting on this planet. This is Yidixa 3A, a rocky planet with a thick atmosphere, lethal to all higher known forms of life. But during its survey, the Fahrenheit discovered a previously unknown strategic resource that was dubbed Zro. It's an extremely rare aerosol of exotic particles that appears to have been deposited here through a meteor impact, but its true origin is a mystery. If ingested by psionically gifted individuals, this aerosol should act as a very potent and potentially addictive drug that enhances psi abilities. While we do not yet possess the means to extract the resource, we should seriously consider establishing control over the system for future exploitation. All right, this is kind of lucky, but as far as making a YouTube video, it's not. This is a strategic resource, okay? It's like minerals or food or whatever, but it's really rare and really specific and does very specific stuff. It takes technologies to mine, and it takes special technologies to use. It's more of like a mid-game thing, and we found one super fast. These things are like so important that you really should go to war with people to get access to them. And buying and selling them on markets is really, really good. We found one, and yeah, it's a special thing called Zro to do with psychics, okay? There is in Stellaris the kind of an idea of magic and psionic abilities. Think like Jedi and stuff. If you want to live the fantasy of having a Jedi empire, you know, and telepathic police and so on, well, Zro allows you to do that, okay? You can do all kinds of things. You can ascend your empire to become telepaths and all, you know, psychically and telepathically communicate with one another and whatnot. It's all very fun, and it's all very much mid-game, not right at the beginning. So this is quite exciting. I want to take this anyway, really. But there you go. So there is some Zro there, and you'll notice that there is that interesting icon now underneath it. Zro is present, but we don't know how to make a Zro mining system. This is, you know, what? This is crazy. We've only just left our solar system, so we don't have to worry. Earth wants to talk to us again as well. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Earth. Both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn more about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalogue the life forms we encounter are already underway, but our xenobiologists have urged us to focus our planetary survey efforts on the habitable, life-bearing worlds. So we can make a decision here. We can say, no, this is ridiculous, and instantly get some influence, which is pretty nice. We get 20 back from what we just spent 75 on that starport. Or we can, and think about how many months that represents, or we can say yes and trigger an event chain. So I like that idea. Let's say it's a commendable initiative. We are
Situation log has
we are
been
xenophilic.
updated.
We are humans. We do like the idea of exploring space, right? So let's have a look at the situation log. This is like your quest log. Whenever you get an anomaly, it will appear here. And you know, you can learn to research whatever. Also, extra tasks because of your empire may appear here, and any big event chains. So here it is, the Habitable World Survey. Our xenobiologists have urged us to survey any worlds with an active biosphere that we come across. They're eager to learn more about the diverse alien ecosystems found throughout the galaxy. So it's a quest for us to find 8 planets like that ocean world we saw, right? And they'll be around. We'll be able to do that with no problem. And maybe that will give us a really good reward. We don't know yet. We gave up some influence, so I wonder what it will be. There's also this here, energy economics. Now, remember how we're a democracy? Well, our president, Dolores, was elected on a platform of bringing our monthly energy credit surplus of at least plus 20 a month. So when her term ends, and remember that's every 10 years, we're now in year 3 here. If we are at plus 20 a month, then cool, we get a reward of unity. How cool is that? And we are currently on track of that. So we want to think about that as we go forwards. That's a part of playing democracies. You've got to actually serve your citizens in ways that they request. And then we'll have a new election, and the new election will come with a new job. Okay, so that's the situation log. Anomalies are tracked in this next one. And then the victory screen here. This is what we're playing for at the very end of the game. 300 years, guys. And on January the 1st, the year 2500, it won't be us that will win the game. It will be this unidentified empire. We don't know who they are, but that means someone's doing better than us right now. So we'll see. We're ranked 7th. Loads of people are doing better than us. We're number 7 right now. All right. That's obviously a bit fourth wall breaking, but it's something to think about. Okay, so what did we want to do? All right, let's see this starport. And this Unity. Okay, so we got another thing for the Unity. Let me go look at the construction ship that's building the starport as we do our Unity here. So, yeah, we picked Discovery. It's probably a good idea to finish it now. We could just do another one if we wanted, but I want to finish this. So, do we want to pick To Boldly Go or Science Division? To boldly go, a new age of exploration is upon us. As we once mapped the surface of our homeworld, we must now brave new terrain, space. There is a galaxy full of wonder waiting to be discovered. So this will increase our survey speed by 35%, which is big. And I really like. So we're definitely going to do that. And it means that if our science ships get attacked, they have a 50% higher chance of escaping. So I'm going to do that straight away. The other one would have helped us with research, but we can look at that at a later point in time. So, the construction ship here...
We have detected
we got another anomaly here. Is building the starport. So, in vanilla, every starbase you build is like super close to the star, and it's a bit rubbish in my opinion. There's not much galactic terrain. Everyone just goes and fights at the star, and then that's it, and then whatever. But I've changed it so that they will actually orbit a lot further away from the star. So it's not always just about being at the star. That means that this starbase will be able to probably protect this planet and this planet, but not necessarily the one that we're going to live at. There's a bit more randomness. There's a bit more variation. It'll be quicker at attacking anyone that goes through this unknown hyperlane. We have no idea where that goes. That's the idea. So anyway, the construction ship is moving over to actually build the thing in that particular area, okay? So he'll go over there and he'll start his construction. You'll see that this actually does not look as big and grand as the one in our main place. Let's be very clear. There are star bases.
System survey concluded.
Star bases are what you build in the orbit of stars or in star systems, okay? The first type of star base is an outpost. That's this. You can upgrade an outpost into a star port. That's what we have over Earth. We just started with a port. And then there's later ones even beyond that that we need technologies for. Okay, so there you go. So by the way, even though the construction ships move quite slowly, when they actually get there, the actual building of a thing is pretty quick and is not too bad. All right, so let's look at this anomaly. There was something, another one of the moons.
We have detected
Hold on, we actually
an
have
anomaly.
two, so hold on. Let's finish this star. The starbase is actually going to take ages. Hold on, let's go back to our situation log. Let's look at our anomalies, and let's see. So, at this moon, we detected life signs coming from somewhere beneath the barren and lifeless surface. What manner of organism could potentially live there? Apparently, this is just a routine difficulty. Our scientists leveled up at some point. That's good. There will have been a notification. I probably just didn't hear it, so we'll grab that. And then this one as well, interference. Ship sensors are picking up an unexplained pattern of interference in this system. So again, that's routine as well, won't take too long. And we've leveled up there as well. So we'll just go for both of those and see what those little anomalies are. Back over at this new starport. Once this is built, we will see our empire's borders expand. Okay, so we're at 70, we're at like, 80% here. It's almost built it, and if you watch, when this comes in, we will expand our borders. Ready?
Construction
So there you have
completed.
it. So this is now our space, because we can protect this with a starbase. Not only will the starbase fight things, but also it will defend people from planetary invasions and armies, which is really good. So now that this is our space, we can tell the construction ship to build stuff. And that just means one mining station there. Also, now that it's our space, we can say that we want to come live here. So this is what I want to do. Okay, so we're going to build our third and final type of ship now. And that will lead us really nicely into talking about planets on the next episode. So I'm going to click colonize. So, this is the world, as we remember, okay? It's a lush world, by the way. The modifier here, I never saw this before. Life thrives here, the fauna is plentiful, and the flora goes rapidly. So, anything we do here will give us more food. There are more food districts potential there, and we have high habitability. We wouldn't normally want to live on an ocean world, but because this one's so lush, it kind of works out. Which is pretty cool. So, this to me definitely seems like a place where we want to grow a lot of food. And we can definitely focus on that. So how do we do this? Well, there's two ways. I could click build a colony ship here, or we could go over to our space station and do it, which is kind of what I want to do. So we're busy finishing our second construction ship now. The other one we made is just here in orbit. Sorry. It's just waiting. So what we can do is we can send him preemptively all the way over here. So we've got a construction ship waiting here. We'll have one going all the way over here for when it's surveyed. This one will build this and then move on. Okay, we're starting to spread out. You can see all these icons of our ships. But over at the Sol Station, and then we'll have another one we can do in a second, I'm going to build a colony ship. So what does a colony ship take? 200 food, 200 alloys, 200 consumer goods, and we'll be talking about that on the next episode, what those are. But we've got plenty for now. We've got 700. And, just by the way, a colony ship will cost us a load of energy every month just to exist. They're very, very, very expensive. So if you want to swarm to loads of planets, it's hard. These ARC ships, you have to well, my little playthrough here, I had to research, and they take a lot of stuff, okay? But I want it. So you can actually see that the default name of this is going to be called the Crystal Palace class, which is pretty cool. And when you decide to make a colony ship, you can decide who's going to live on it. Well, humans, obviously. So we'll do that. But maybe later, we'll have more people. Now, if I bump the priority up of that colony ship, I don't know whether it will delete the construction ship. I don't think it will. We'll probably just put it on hold, but we'll leave that there. So yes, guys, next time we will go and we will start living on this luscious ocean planet and start creating a lot of food. What do we want to spend food on? What are consumer goods for? What is going on over at Earth? There's been a lot of jobs I could have done there this whole episode, and I haven't so far. All of that we'll talk about on the next one when we start dealing with planetary management, which is one of the more fun parts of the game and one of the more overhauled parts of the game most recently. And we just found something else as the anomaly was finished. So thanks for watching, guys. Still no alien life just yet, but we'll see what we find on the next one. Take it easy, guys. See yous.